Hi. Hi, all of you. My name is Diptrup Chakraborty. You know me by now. So today I will be hosting my ex-colleague and partner in crime and he's a seasoned product management person, and I'm coming from a product marketing person. And one of the things that we used to always debate is that product marketing is not helping product management the way he would like to be helped by marketing. I don't know whether that has been sorted out now right now, but that was always a challenge that he used to face from product marketing. So without much ado, let me introduce Kanish Ghosh. Kanish, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hey, thanks, Zipto, and thanks for having me on this session. So yeah, so like you mentioned, right? I feel like a veteran in this industry. I see all these, young product managers everywhere, and I feel very old now. But yes, I've been in product management for a very long time. Been doing that since I think 2005. Had a brief stint in sales before that. Uh, I am been in product management for a whole bunch of different companies, small and large. Largely, I focus on the B2B side of it. I had my brief stint in the B2C side too. Uh, Again, while there are differences, there are obviously a lot of commonalities too between B2B and B2C. I think we'll probably explore that as we go ahead. But yes, so I think product management and product marketing, they go very hand in hand. Sometimes they're kind of fighting for that same piece of the pie, so it becomes a little difficult. It's like tough was there, and obviously they're best of friends too. So I think, yeah, Dipto, that's probably how I would sum it up.
So before I ask the question, I wanted to ask you this little controversial. Do you think product marketing should report to product management?
If you ask me, then yes. Uh,
Does it happen?
Honestly,
Is it happening?
not a lot. On the contrary, Dipto, I think I've seen instances of it happening the other way around too. I know you'll be happy with that. Yeah, because often, and I've seen that in India in the beginning, a long time back. Things obviously have changed a lot since then. Long time back, product management was very inward facing. So product management was supposed to be just the conduit between the business side and the development. So these are the guys who kind of take those abstract business ideas and convert them into like pseudo code kind of thing which techies understand. And that is where the marketing kind of led the product management team, because marketing was kind of more business oriented. uh, so I've seen that in a lot of organizations. Things have obviously changed a lot in India right now. Product managers are actually people who are taking decisions, who are the leading the business side of the company too. But yes, so I think we have seen examples of both.
So what is, I mean, this is question that I have been always been asked. I want to know, what is the role of a product manager? What does he, don't give me the job description, but what is he measured on? What are his goals? What does he do?
Perfect. So again, Dipto, if, we've had this multiple times, and this is probably very cliche, but you'll keep hearing about product management being like a mini CEO, right? I think that's been the most cliched example or description that we have seen everywhere. While that is probably great for
This is
recruitment.
interesting because you said, just let me interrupt. My previous boss used to say that product marketing was a mini CMO. Now you are saying product management is a mini CEO. By the way, that person was both our bosses. Just wanted to tell you. Okay, go
Fair. So yeah, I think
ahead.
that worked well for recruiting us. But yes, but I think there's a lot of truth in that, because end of the day, product managers do take a lot of the calls in terms of what is happening with the product. So what are you going to do, what are you going to build, and what are you going to focus on, and that obviously determines how the product is going to be in the market in the next few quarters, right? So when I look at it at a very high level, obviously there are a lot of going to be a lot of smaller KRAs or metrics, but at a high level, the two broad metrics should always be retention and new customer acquisition. So one, all the customers who are with you should stay. That obviously means how happy they are, all your NPA scores and whatnot, and the lot of these metrics that we will use. All that boils down to your customers are happy and they stay with you. So that's the first metric. And the second one is, are you getting new customers? That obviously also reflects on competition. So are you being able to keep one step ahead of them, because otherwise you'll not get those new deals. So end of the day, those are probably the two key metrics. Everything else kind of fall into that. And if you look at it, right, I mean, if you look at a CEO from a business perspective, probably those are the two key metrics that they are also tasked with. I mean, I'm not going to all the other people metrics and so on.
So let me ask a question on top of this. So product marketing, when since they work very closely with product management, are they also supposed to carry the same goals, which means retention and new customer logos? Because or are you you think they should be measured on other softer goals? Because these are very hard metrics, which frankly speaking, neither you nor me as a marketer and you as a product manager have direct involvement in, right? You uh, okay, so is it fair to say that what you just said as a goal, and also then should product marketing also have the same goals? If you were to lead a product management and marketing function, like say in Freshworks, which reports to the chief product officer, would you like marketing to also own that goal?
I mean, the way I see it, Dipto, is if you look at it, I mean, when I've spoken to a lot of marketing folks, right, there are a lot of different goals to look at. Like, for example, number of leads generated, right? Now you could look at number of leads generated, number of leads getting converted, and so on as different metrics. But end of the day, all of those ultimately result in new business for the company. So that is actually kind of tying back to the second point I had, which is about new customer acquisition or new revenue. So if you look at it, most of the metrics that a marketing team carries today ultimately rolls up to these two. And for example, on the other side, like for example, let's say brand recognition, brand awareness, you probably have a lot of those metrics.
Yeah.
But eventually all of that would probably contribute to any of these two buckets, because the more your brand is famous and customers, so you'll probably get called to more RFPs, you'll have customers considering you more, which in turn will eventually lead to higher conversions, or your internal or your current set of customers will probably feel much more empathetic towards the product probably. So end of the day, I think all of these eventually translate into these two broad metrics. Now, should these be the broad metrics? May not be, because for a person who's probably not directly involved in a lot of that work, they might just feel that, hey, I don't even have control on that. But I feel that if you have something like this, that probably gives the entire organization a probably a right direction to run towards. Otherwise, okay, I am more focused on just generating some leads. I don't even care if they got converted, right? That way, they become very siloed, and you're throwing that thing over the wall, which may not work. So I mean, I don't know if they're right. Again, as you said, Dipto, our CEO probably will take a call on that. But I feel, yes, at some point in time, these two could be the right metrics to measure both the teams.
So before I come to the question, let me another add small little one. Say, for example, you're adding a feature addition. Say, for example, a new UI you are doing for your product, right? And so that is to perhaps retain customers, right? Or new UI and all that stuff. How does a trigger happen for a new UI? Is it the CEO which tells you? Is it sales who are telling you? Is it competition? Is it the marketing team which tells you? And ideally, who should tell you? Ideally, who should you listen to the most? To add a feature, not a product, new product, a feature of a product.
Ideally, it should be only the customer. In some cases, they may not be able to really give you the exact thing that they want. I mean, I always use the example of the Ford motor cars, Dipto, whenever we talk to my folks. So if you remember when Ford did that survey, all people talked about faster horses, right? So that was a feature. Now that feature translating into a car is obviously not something that was described as part of what we got from the customers, but that is something where you made that joining those two dots and jumped. That is something to do. But if you see, that feedback actually came from the customers. So in my mind, the feedback should always come from the customer. Now, yes, I mean, you might say sales kind of does a quasi customer role, because they're talking to the prospects who are like your potential customers. So in that case, sales obviously kind of can become quasi customers for you. But if you ask me, I would say it should be only the customer and nobody else. I mean, to the extent a strong product manager should be able to even stand up to the CEO and maybe question the decision if he's not agreeing to that.
So now there is this thing about two things which I'm just kind of arguing with you as a marketer. Two things is there's this solution approach, which means they say that a product should solve a problem, okay, and hence product market fit, right? Now sometimes the problem is identified by the company before the people know about it. Like say example like WhatsApp, I mean the consumer example, or say for example CRM, right? That perhaps was a problem which was identified by the mix of the product. The company felt, okay, this is a problem which is there, and maybe not articulated so much by the or cloud computing for that matter, right? These things have not come from the customer so much as from the inherent, like okay, let me give you an example. AWS was created because there was extra server space, okay, which Jeff Bezos wanted to monetize. Right now, that feedback that okay, you have extra server space, you monetize it, did not come from the customer. It came from an internal thing. So where does do you think every time a customer is most paramount, and if yes, then where does the role of research and all that stuff get included in your development? Research is only customer speaking, or do you want to kind of internal thought, like manthan as they call it in Hindi?
Right. I mean, even if you talk about that AWS Genesis, I believe there were always these feedback which was there, which probably people did not, or signals which people didn't pick up on. So, I mean, I remember I was with IBM in those days when they had launched on demand. Now, that was not really a kind of a AWS kind of a scenario, but close to that, right? Now, I remember the example that was being used, and that is because it had come from the customer, was Wimbledon. Now, Wimbledon, if you look at their website, there's a huge surge in traffic for those few weeks when the games are being played or just before the matches, right? Other than that, for the rest of the year, the traffic is probably, I don't know, 1/100th of probably what it is, or whatever. The scale is very, very different. Now, for them to do it completely internally, either they would have to go ahead and have hardware which would be completely unutilized for 90% of the year. So there was a genuine requirement where they were trying to solve that. What do I do? I just need that additional infrastructure only for a brief period of time. How do I solve that? Do I buy more, or then how do I support it? Or I'll have users suffering disturbances during that period. Now that itself, when they spoke to probably some technology leader, should be a cue for them to understand that there is a requirement where they want some kind of a hosting solution where they don't want to buy the infrastructure, but it's kind of an AWS kind of scenario. So my point is, I think those cues would always there, because this business use case would have been existing from day one. So the problems were there. It's just about kind of connecting the dots and then converting that to their actual solution, which was AWS.
Okay. So, okay, now a few more questions on product marketing, product management before we move to the product marketing part. There are two scenarios. One is a mature company, like say Oracle, which is there and all this stuff, and they have a huge sources to get the information. They can buy, acquire also. They don't have to develop on scratch. Versus a startup, which is starting out the product and all this stuff, right? So, how does if you are a product manager for a say a not a very early stage startup, for a say 1 2 years, 3 years existence, $5 million kind of a startup, how would you develop the product vision for that company? How would you go about doing that? Remember, it's not Oracle or Microsoft or Google.
I get that. I think there are a couple of other factors to consider here, Dipto. See, one is, these days, the funding scene is very hot. So it also depends on, who's funding you, how you're being funded. Now, you always hear those stories about, products or companies which have not yet broken even or which are running at losses. Yet, they're able to grow at an astronomical pace, because they're the simplest metric that are being tracked is number of customers that they can acquire. So they don't care about profitability. So I think it is also a matter of what is your priority. One could be that I want sustainable organic growth, in which I want to ensure that I get a few customers and make them successful. In that case, obviously the logical corollary to that is you obviously limited budgets. So then you have to pick your battles very carefully. So what are you going to focus on? So you have to pick up maybe an industry, geography, certain type of customers you want to target, and you have to figure out what they're looking for and then build for that. If you don't have a fund concern, or your focus is just to grow, then it is probably going to be like, let me innovate or let me try to grow as fast as I can, which I have to be growing faster than my competitor. So I think the decisions is not purely a product decision, Dipto, but is more a function of where am I, where the market is. Like the other thing is, like, for example, if you look at a new technology, when you are trying to kind of sell something completely new, you have to establish the value. You have to establish, like, for example, today, if you want to sell a solution based on blockchain or on a lot of AI technologies, I mean, okay, these are buzzwords today, can they sell for itself? But maybe 5 years back, if you were doing the same, your battle was very different than if you're selling a very conventional solution. So if you're selling like a ERP product or something. So I think it's a function of the product, the market. I mean, we keep hearing about that, the blue waters and the red waters and so on. Blue ocean, correct.
White ocean, multicolored
Yes,
ocean. Like
correct.
fungus,
So
multi-fungus, all the different colors of fungus are coming up. So now different color oceans.
correct. Yes. So yeah, blue ocean and red ocean waters would not probably land me in a copyright problem. But yeah, so those things, right? So what is your competition? Is it the price sensitive market? Are you just playing on price? What is the customer looking for? Can you be a leader, or are you creating a completely niche segment? So I think there are a lot of different factors that go in to decide on what you want to build. But at the end of the day, I think it still goes back to the customer. You have to build what the customer wants.
Okay, or anticipate what the customer wants.
Correct.
Even better, right? You'll be ahead of the curve. Okay, so okay, now comes the elephant in the room. Ideally, what do you think is the product marketing's function from a product management point of view?
Sorry, Dipto, there was a little disturbance in the background. Can you repeat that, please?
No problem. Ideally, what do you think is a product marketing's function from a product manager's point of view? From a SaaS, give me a SaaS context, not a B2C.
Right. Now, I mean, as you said, if I want to purely wear the product manager's hat, where I don't care about, all the lead generation and other things, Dipto, I mean, I'm assuming that happens by itself. I would want the marketing team to purely focus on marketing my products, because as a product manager, I think I have a inherent sense or belief that, my product will sell by itself. I think every product manager is very proud of their product and they feel that way. So in that case, I think what product manager look for is, how can I take my product to the wider world? Now, there are two kinds of marketing. One is what I would say the inbound, or not the inbound, but the inward focus marketing, which is basically marketing to your internal teams, maybe to your even customers who are already your customers, so that they get to know what's happening, and then to the outside world, right? I mean, it's not only about like ACOs and stuff where, am I coming up as the first link on a Google search or whatever, but it's actually about really, are you able to market the core essence of my product? See, where I think people or product managers script the most is they believe that product marketing is not really able to understand my product in the way they would want them to, and the way they market becomes very canned. Right? I mean,
so how do you bridge that gap? The product marketing's knowledge about a product cannot be the same as the product manager's knowledge of the product. Okay, so there'll be always Chinese whispers happening, which will filter some of the information. So ideally, how do you make sure, because product marketing will obviously create content or whatever they have to create to market your product, quote unquote, market your product. So how do you establish a process which will make sure that the messages or the product features are converted into benefits? Okay, let me give actual examples, okay, to quantify. One is you do the product training and all the stuff, which, let's face it, everybody sleeps through, right? Especially if it's an internal one, right? But at the same time, he's expected to write about data sheets and stuff like that, okay, based on the product or the presentation that you have created and all the stuff, and he gives it back to you, you review it, but you don't have time because you have other activities to do, and you do a cursory proof check and all the stuff, and perhaps go with it, right? So how do you ensure that this one happens? And then there's always this fight happens about product marketing is being reduced to a content marketer. I'm hearing so many product marketers who say that we are being reduced to a content marketing, we are reduced to a content marketing. So how do you bridge that?
yes, and that's where I think Dipto separates the good marketing folks from the great marketing folks. I mean, I know of so many examples of, people who have crossed over. So started off in marketing, product marketing, moved to product management, and vice versa. Because that, as you said in the beginning, right, that line is very blurry and is very thin. Now, unfortunately and sadly, yes, people are kind of getting down to only doing content marketing, because what is happening is, like you mentioned, right? Say I'm developing a new feature, I developed a new feature. When I go and hand over to the marketing team, maybe I've given a demo or I've shared some documentation, they just take those feature attributes and probably they create a nice jazzy collateral around it and send it out. But what they are failing to probably take that next step is really figure out how is it benefiting the customer, what business value is it solving, because that is what the collateral should address, not just kind of the feature description in a nice English words. And that's where I think we are struggling, because what the marketing guy is doing is not trying to put in that effort to really understand the product feature, but just kind of paraphrasing it in nice marketing lingo, and which is in depth boiling down to just kind of content creation. But if that person could really understand the essence of it, then I believe they can really make a big difference.
So let me ask you specific questions, and I would like to say you to answer whether this should be a product management responsibility or a product marketing responsibility. Okay, so for example, identifying the problem that the product should solve, that should be a product marketing responsibility or management.
As I said, product manager Dipto by definition is very bullish about their product, and it's like their kid who they say they can't let go, right? So they would want to grab everything around the product for themselves. Identifying what the product should do, I believe there's a lot of analysis and a lot of insights that should come from the marketing team. For example, competitor studying and analysis from the competition, analysis from different marketing cues that are out there, social media analysis, right? So there are a lot of inputs that can come from the marketing team. The product manager probably can synthesize all of those and try to figure out that what can be done best to solve that requirement that is coming up. But at some point, it has to come from the marketing team.
So if you're just saying that some amount of competitive analysis or say competitive competition has this feature, should ideally come from product marketing and not from product management.
Yes, I mean in an ideal world, Dipto, a product manager will have very limited knowledge of the competitive products. I mean,
okay, let's say internal product training. Who should be leading that?
As I said, if the marketing person can ramp up where they have gone beyond paraphrasing just the product attributes, but can actually talk about why this matters, they should do that, because they can probably position it in a much better way, ideally. But unfortunately, people are struggling there. So for example, you have to train the sales guys. I don't want to train them, look, there's a button here, you can click it and this does this. I should train them that when you talk to the customer, you should explain that, this button is going to save you X dollars, or is going to help you reduce so much of, time. Now that again, if assuming if both the teams are competent enough, Dipto, it can be anybody's game.
Okay. And speaking in events, say events, podiums and stage and all the stuff. That is something the product marketers love to do because they get to travel. when travel was happening, now so it is whatever. Okay.
Yes, I think now product management is going to do that more. But yeah, so again, Dipto, I think what product managers really love from those events, I mean, I'm just speaking personally, is what we learn based on the networking and the interactions. So because I get to meet more people in the same industry, some of the analysts, some of the other good thinkers, the discussions are very helpful. So product management needs to be exposed to all of those for them to really learn and understand what's happening in that world, what's happening around their product, what is the next big thing coming up. So while I don't think that presentation is something that product management should do or marketing should do, I think either team can do it. You need the right set of guys to do it. But those exposure really helps the team. So I think the product management should definitely be exposed to those events. Who speaks probably depends on who has that flair. I mean, if you can wear a turtleneck, Dipto, and jump on the table, then you should do it.
Okay, so one more question before I ask them a little bit more controversial question. There's something called in marketing, I'm sure you know it, called ideal customer profile or persona as they call it. Marketing comes up with jargons like nobody's business, right? So now in vogue is ICP. Okay, earlier it was titles, then became persona, now it's become ICP, in ideal customer profile, right? Which is basically identifying who will buy mine. like chief procurement officer in your case and his, or in his organization, sourcing head, purchasing head. These are ICPs, right? And whatever. So that definition, that description, right now is being done by product marketing. Do you agree with that? That it should be done by product marketing, or actually not even sometimes not even done. It's done by the demand generation team, which is even further away from product marketing.
Now, there are two distinct set of people there, Dipto. One are the users and two are the decision makers or the buyers. Now, product management and the user experience team have been doing this persona creation and mapping for a very long time, because we create all these different user personas in terms of who's going to use the product, figure out how they'll use it, and we design the product based on that information. So this is something we've been doing for a long time. But these are, if you realize, Dipto, are personas based on who's going to use my product. Now, it is not necessary that the user is the one who's buying the product. I mean, B2C, probably that's going to be more often true, but in a B2B scenario, may not be true. So the decision maker who's going to actually decide on which product to buy may be a very casual user or may not even use the product to a large extent. So if you are focused on mapping those personas or profiles based on who's going to buy your product and figure out what we need to do to appeal to them, probably marketing sales becomes the best bet. If you're looking at creating the personas from how are we going to use the product, then obviously product management will play a big role there.
Okay. Now I have this elephant in the room. What problem with product marketing or any marketing function is that they are under pressure from sales, right? The sales wants numbers and all the stuff, SQL, SQO, or you have been on these meetings, obviously, right? So, and so they run when sales rings the bell. And that is the problem we always expressed, that product marketing does not report, listen to product management, and they seem to be more interested in sales. Sales says that, look, we are facing the customer or the prospect, the people who get us business, and you have to help us out. Okay, and marketing says we will hear the customer first and not the internal teams first. Okay, and there the two trains don't meet, right? So if the product marketing reports to product management, this problem for product management gets sorted out. Okay, obviously you can listen to the boss. If the product marketing reports to sales problem gets sorted out. But right now, product marketing is reporting to marketing in most organizations, though it is moving also to product management in some cases. So when you as a product manager obviously feel shortchanged when this happens, when sales takes precedence, how do you bridge this? How do you sort this? Because they will obviously, sales will obviously be the most important function in an organization.
Yes, and that's the challenge, Dipto. See, I mean, I always feel that it's a very myopic way of looking at things, because you are kind of trying to create things just for that one opportunity. So putting all your energy or bandwidth just to, support that one opportunity, which you may not win at the end. But if you could put that, bandwidth to really create something which can really show my product in a great, fantastic light, right? That can probably help me get 10 new customers. So in my mind, the challenge is, if product marketing is just running after a new deal and trying to kind of just create collaterals only for that one customer, it's probably not doing the right job, because its job is not for that one customer, because sales should do that or pre-sales should do that. Ideally, pre-sales should be the right team doing that. Marketing should ensure that there is enough visionary stuff getting created. And that is where I, as you said, right, I've always been fighting for that kind of attention. I believe that is what goes wrong, because we could do something fantastic. If I could, for example, I don't know, but there are probably, on LinkedIn, you often might have come across a video or some kind of a collateral from customer, when you or product, when you see that, right, you might feel, oh, this is great, I want it. Right now, that one content is equivalent to probably 20 different leads and maybe 10 conversions, right? So I would much rather create that rather than focusing on creating something specific to a customer. Okay. So, I mean, that's how I see it. But yeah, I know, but in any company, I think, the team that brings in the money will get the biggest say.
Okay, yeah, that's always happens. So do you think, okay, let me just put it this way. What are the skills required for a product manager? And then I'll come to my question. So.
Right. I mean, obviously, when we put out a JD, Dipto, if you read the JDs, even when I read those JDs, I get very paranoid in the sense, how did I even get in here? But honestly, I don't think, there is a huge, a lot of stuff that is required. I mean, especially in the IT world, you need to have that fascination of IT. When I've seen a lot of product managers who are scared of technology. Now, that is your core of your kind of company's existence, right? If that is your mindset, IT product management may not be your business. I mean, you can get into a product management for maybe a FMCG company or something else, right? So one obviously is you need to love IT. Okay, that's not always the first and foremost item to be ticked off. For a product manager, you obviously need that uh, logical thinking ability, so that connecting the dots, like we spoke about, right? You hear about some business problem, you hear about certain things from different sources, connecting those dots to figure out what would be the best solution for that. Appreciation for user experience, I mean, that is the biggest thing today. 10 years on the line, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but those Oracle screens we used to have 10-15 years back, those blue screens. I mean, I don't think if you give them to anybody today, they'll use it. Right? So that appreciation for the user experience and that sympathy for the end customer, that is important. And the other thing to me, which is a little intangible, is the sense of responsibility. You have to be responsible for the product, do whatever is required to get it successful. It's not like a day job where I will start and at 5 o'clock I close my laptop and that's it. My product goes away. You have to kind of leave and breathe your product. If you don't do that, again, you'll be a good product manager, you may not be a great product manager.
Great. And so now coming to, do you think the two functions are interchangeable, which means a product marketing can become a manager, product manager, and vice versa?
Oh yes.
Or,
oh yes, definitely. I mean, see, always, Dipto, there has always been that one small thing that people spoke about, that marketing guys have to be a little more extroverted, if you want to call that, because like you mentioned, a lot of the marketing guys will be, speaking on those different marketing events, standing on those podiums. So there are certain product managers who are more comfortable probably working on their systems, probably working on pseudocode and whatnot, but not very comfortable in those presentations. So that's more of an individual thing. But otherwise, definitely. And I have seen a lot of people who have done that, crossed over that bridge, and have been very successful. So definitely.
okay. And any questions you have? Do you have any questions?
Yes. So, I mean, I think from the product management piece, right, we always have this question of how does the product marketing guys view the product managers?
Okay, so product managers, product marketing guys, right now, if you see, product marketing is a evolving profession. It's just picking up, like 3-4 years, it has become mainstream, right? So first problem that they have is that they have this feeling that they're being reduced to content creators, not even content marketers, because the content that they create are not used for marketing. So they feel that they're content creators. Secondly, they feel product managers speak a lot of geek language, right? They can't simplify. They're not able to simplify. So they feel that product managers should simplify it, simplify the products into benefits, into what problem are they solving. Okay, ideally, this will help them create a story or whatever, which is good, which is the ideal world, which isn't happening. And third thing is that what you feel is that whenever the product marketing creates something for the product managers, for them to use it and all the stuff, the product managers don't seem to get involved in things that marketing want. For example, if you have to keep a blog, right? You brief us, we write it. You want to create an ebook, you brief us, we write it. For the time for you to brief us or giving importance to it, okay, it is not even secondary, tertiary, it is quaternary. Not even in the top 3 of your job description. So those are some of the issues that product marketing has with product management, with my product management.
Fair point taken, Dipto.
Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions?
I think no, I'm good, Dipto. It was a very I don't know, interesting conversation. I think we learned a lot.
Okay, then. Thank you, Kanishk, and I will be stopping the recording. Just stay back after the recording. I'm stopping the recording. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Dipto.